Welcome everyone. Welcome to our daily call with Neumi's 90-day run. My name is Keith Chasson, for those who don't know. Jamie and I are double diamonds with Neumi. We got started in 2022. April 16th was the day. I remember like it was yesterday. We were just minding our own business, drinking a cup of coffee, empty nesters, and Jamie's phone goes off, and it was one of our friends sending her a video that she thought she should watch. And when she did, Jamie got excited. It was a video called "Can Your Skincare Do This?" And that got her excited. But what got me excited was the second recording she played. It talked about nano, sublingual, and glutathione. And when I heard that, I got pumped because that brought me back in time when I did a lot of research, found out that glutathione was highly important. Just the delivery system was very substandard for the most part. Can't get it through the gut, and do it any other way would cost a lot of money. And I prayed with intention that someone someday should come out with a way to get supplemental glutathione directly into the cell, bypassing the gut. And when I heard that day, I knew my prayer was answered. And so we got started. We got ordered. We got it coming in, and I started doing some research. And when I learned that who was behind this technology, who was bringing it to the marketplace, I knew that this was God, truly God, answering my prayer. The guy that brought it, a man named Stephen K. Scott, published author, strong Christian man, and brother in Christ. I couldn't be more excited to be the one introducing him today, because when I got to meet that man personally in Dallas, Texas, give him a hug and learn his heart for and compassion for people, not just people in general, but I'm talking about people across the globe. The wellness of humanity is very important. And I believe this technology addresses that. So with no further ado, I want to bring my friend, Stephen Scott.
Thank you so much, Keith. And I remember that day when you and I'm not muted. You and Jamie showed up, and it was so nice to meet you. And I said, "Where are you from?" And you said Louisiana. And I thought, oh, you tend to think somebody says they're from known for network marketing, like Texas,
Right.
Florida. Sure, somebody says, "Oh, I'm from the Bios, Louisiana." You think, well, we'll see. I remember one gentleman that joined, and he was older than me. And when he joined, I thought, well, good. He'll enjoy the product. The product will be a big game changer in his life and everything. But I certainly didn't expect anything at his age. I mean, he's way past retirement, just like I am. And I didn't expect anything big. Well, he ends up recruiting somebody, bunch of phone calls, kept saying no, kept saying no. She comes in and she gets to Crown Diamond faster than anybody else in our company history. So you never know. Uh, Shakespeare said something to the effect, some seeds you sow will grow, some you won't. If you can tell me which one will, please do. I won't waste my time and money on the seeds that aren't going to grow. But the fact is, we don't know what seeds will grow. And I love it when it's a surprise. Keith wouldn't be here if he hadn't had an incredible, I mean, he would have been here, but not with the level of commitment and enthusiasm that he has if the product hadn't had a life-changing impact on him. That does change everything for a lot of people. So welcome to our call. We have another one tonight at Thursday night. This is a call that the Thursday night call we created for the Southern Hemisphere, because Thursday night is Friday morning for them. And so, however, it turned out that we get as many people from the Northern Hemisphere every Thursday night as we get from the Southern Hemisphere. So don't forget tonight, call your friends, relatives, anybody you want to hear the science about our product. Did I miss last Thursday night? I don't know. We've traveled so much. I know when I was in Mexico, I missed one or two. I think I missed even one. No, I actually did a Thursday night call in when I was in Indonesia. So, uh, who are we? What are we? What do we do? Well, long story short, I have spent a lifetime finding products that could do things that nothing else in the world could do. We call them breakthrough products. And in 2006, I had an investment banker call me. His name was Rob, and he said, I'm going to introduce you to the greatest breakthrough you're going to find in your lifetime. And he said, I've done my homework on you, and I know you're always looking for breakthroughs. I said, well, your homework is right. I am always looking for breakthroughs. I wanted to say you're full of soup. You know, QVC tried 39 infomercials in a row. They failed. Doug Briggs, the CEO and chairman of the board of QVC back then in 92, called us and came over to our building. We were only about 2 blocks away. And he said, I'm going to make you a deal that you guys aren't going to believe. And we said, well, what's the deal? And he said, well, we've decided to leave the infomercial business. We are, I have to change my language here. Let's see. There it is. He said, we have had 39 strikeouts out of 39 attempts. He said, what's your batting average? At the time, we were hitting about 90% home runs and striking out 10% of the time. And he says, that's why we're going to become your pipeline. We're going to bring you any product we think has infomercial potential. We will bring to you. You make your deal with the inventor and pay us a little royalty. And we signed a 5-year contract, and we all got excited. Woohoo, because it's hard to find breakthrough products. It's really hard. And for somebody like that to come along and say, we're going to bring you our breakthroughs over the next 5 years, man, saved me a lot of time and wear because I was going all over the world looking for products. Well, in the next 5 years, they brought us over 1,000 products. We did not do one television show, not one infomercial, not one commercial on one of those products because not one was a breakthrough. A breakthrough does what nothing else in the world can do as effectively, efficiently, or economically. And one of three or all of three or all of two of the three. So now an investment banker says, I'm going to bring one product to you, and it's going to be the greatest breakthrough of your lifetime. And this is to this guy who has had, by that time, I had had decades of experience knowing most products aren't breakthroughs. Most products don't even qualify to be considered by us. But what do you got? And he said, well, I've got a medical product. Well, Utah is the home of a lot of medical breakthroughs. If you ever get a stent in your cardiovascular system to open up an artery, that was Utah. But one of many, many great inventions from Utah. So I got excited. I said, what kind of device is it? He says, it's not a device, it's a supplement. And when he said supplement, I held my fingers up like that. I said, Rob, not interested. And he said, why? I said, because I don't believe in supplements. All they've ever done for me is turn light yellow urine into bright yellow urine. And I don't have to spend money for that. I just have to hold it longer and it happens automatically. And he said, no, this is different. And I said, how's it different? He said, well, what it does, number one, makes a difference. He says, people use it and they experience a difference. And I said, okay, I like that. He said, number two, it's quantifiable. You can actually measure blood levels. I said, well, that sounds good. And he said, number three, he said, we've got the bird flu is probably going to come to the United States, and this may be the only thing that saves your family's life. Well, I'm not stupid. So I said, okay, what is it? And he said, well, I can't explain it, but the doctor who invented it from the Mayo Clinic can. I said, okay, get him on the phone. Well, that guy starts to talk to me and he loses me about 30 seconds into the conversation. I'm the highest ADD ever measured by the University of Utah. And I think a fly started walking up my window and he lost me. But I did agree to meet with the doctor/scientist. I was doing a Total Gym infomercial with Chuck Norris, and we we're going to be at Chuck's house the next week in Dallas. And I asked this particular doctor to come to Dallas, meet me there. And from Florida, and I'd take a look at what he has. Well, I looked at it, and it was a breakthrough. And I looked at some of his clinical studies, and oh my goodness, he had the real deal. So he came, he explained it, and I said, what we're going to do, we're going to do a test. I'll make 5,000 bottles of your formula. You introduce us to the lab that makes it, and we'll put it out there and see if people notice a difference. I said, I'm not interested in anything that isn't experiential. He said, okay. Well, we tested it, and it made a big difference. So I wrote a check for $1 million and started a company to develop and market that product. And that product revolved around the word glutathione. What's glutathione? Glutathione is a tripeptide, 3 amino acids in one molecule, or one chain, and it is the most important molecule in life. It's right there with oxygen, and there'd be no life on Earth without it. You could have this nice blue atmosphere, but without glutathione, there is no plant life, no animal life, no fish, no birds, no people, nothing. It's just a dead planet. And it's that important. Well, we developed a company around his product for the first couple of years, and then I bought some patents from University of Minnesota that went to a whole new level. But all of these products could not get glutathione through the stomach, and they weren't intended to. They were intended to get cysteine somehow through the stomach, so that cysteine could get into the cells. And once in the cells would use cysteine to combine with the other 2 amino acids to make its own glutathione. And that's what we operated on. And we did really well. I bought those patents from the University of Minnesota, and the company did real well. But what we had, one of our scientists has said, was like a skateboard compared to an F-35 jet. F-35 is our frontline fighter, that and the F-22. And this particular scientist said, you guys are, when it comes to glutathione, you have a F-35 and everybody else is selling skateboards. And you're selling the F-35s for less money than the rest of the world sells skateboards. And he was absolutely right. There's some good products out there that can upregulate certain things that can result in a higher level of glutathione at a cellular level, and then you get good results from that. But none of them, in my mind, and the mind of all of our doctors on that medical board that you can look at, none of them are near as effective, near as efficient, near as fast. You think about IV glutathione, and we'll talk more about glutathione in a minute, but people say, well, do they have IVs? Yeah, for $200 to $300 an IV. Now somebody's like, well, I can get one for 150. Yeah, you better check and see what solutions it is, who's administering it. Do your due diligence. But even IV glutathione, when compared to what we have, is still a skateboard. It'll get you from point A to point B. One guy went across the United States on a skateboard, took him 67 days. That's pretty good to go from California to New York on a skateboard in 67 days. But in an F-35, you can do it in 2.5 hours. Given the choice, I'd take the 2.5 hours, flying at 1,400 miles an hour. So all that to say, there are other glutathione products out there, but they're not the breakthrough we're going to talk about today. So what is glutathione? Glutathione is the most important molecule in life. It's just as important as oxygen, and it is your cell's first line of defense. It's the first thing the cell relies upon to defend itself against nearly everything. And we're going to talk about some of those things. It performs 400 functions. That's like having, a military guy that can not only shoot a rifle, he can shoot a machine gun, he can shoot a bazooka. He knows how to operate field artillery, so he can lob shells 35 miles away. He knows how to fly a jet. He knows how to drive a tank. He knows how to do absolutely anything that is asked of him when it comes to defense or attack. That's what glutathione is. It handles everything. It is unbelievable. And now I didn't know all this. I've now spent 18 years of my life, my mental focus, centered in on what does it take to raise glutathione in the bodies of humans, animals, anything. And there's plenty to study. It's the most studied molecule in medicinal science, even though half the doctors in America don't even know what it is. But every microbiologist, every biochemist, every medicinal scientist, which are pharmaceutical scientists, they all know what glutathione is, most studied molecule. Over 180, I think last I looked, 184,700 published studies in PubMed, the government library of medical science literature, on glutathione. Put it in perspective, vitamin C has less than half of that. Vitamin C is number 2 as the second most studied molecule. So why is it the most studied? Because it can make the most difference in everything that we care about. Dr. Mehmet Oz said this at the beginning. He did a show years ago when he had his TV show. He's a Harvard heart surgeon. And he did a show on glutathione. His guest that day was Dr. David Katz, who was head of disease prevention for Yale University. And Oz opened the show with this statement. He said, glutathione, it's the most important antioxidant you've never heard of. It's what protects you from the diseases you fear the most. Actually, I think he said the word help. It's what helps protect you from the diseases you fear the most. That's a pretty strong statement. What diseases do you fear for yourself, for your kids, for your grandparents, for your animals? What diseases do you fear? Well, Oz said this helps protect you from the diseases you fear the most. He wasn't off by an inch. I mean, that is, in fact, if anything, it's an understatement. So what does glutathione do? Well, let's start at the beginning. We're only going to look at 150 of its uses out of the 400. Just kidding. We'll only look at about 3 or 4. But let's start with oxygen. I recently was on a phone call with a man who got his PhD in biology in 1984. And he says, I already know everything about glutathione. You don't need to tell me anything. That's not why I'm on this call. And I said, well, it's so good to talk to an expert. I said, you do know that there's no oxygen transfer without it, correct? He said, what? I said, there's no oxygen transfer. When hemoglobin's manufactured in your body, it has the wrong electromagnetic charge. It cannot bind to oxygen. It has to be reduced to a +2. And the only thing that can reduce it to that charge is glutathione. So without glutathione, there's no oxygen transfer. And he goes, really? You see, people, even people that think they know about glutathione, really don't know that much. And we were in Cuba. We were asked to I was asked to keynote a medical conference of 100. It was 300 medical doctors from around the world in ear, nose, and throat. Well, what do I know about ear, nose, and throat? I know nothing, but I know about glutathione, and somebody was intrigued and asked me to keynote. So I asked 300 doctors, how many of you have heard of glutathione? 5 hands go up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. I did my keynote, and then we had a Cuban doctor who is ear, nose, and throat tell what he had seen. And then we said, when he's finished, you can go to a back table and get your sample. Everybody got up. 350 doctors stand up while our buddy's talking, and they run to the table. And they literally take every product, every piece of literature, everything we have is gone in about 3 minutes. So you never make an announcement till the end of somebody's talk, not in the middle. But they had no idea what glutathione was. But after my talk, they realized how critical it is. And after the ear doctor's talk, they realized how important it is when dealing with things such as hearing loss due to aging or tinnitus, and what it can do for those. And he shared some facts that we normally don't share on calls like this, and it drove everybody crazy. People don't know about glutathione, even if they think they do. I was recently getting my annual physical. My doctor is really cool. She is amazing. And I said, well, I got some new pictures. And she's always thinking, yeah. And I showed her some of my new pictures that we just got in from doctors around the world. And she's just, Steve, it's crazy. It's crazy. Another doctor on a call, because we show medical pictures to medical doctors. And he was the whole PhD in biology that knew everything. When we started showing his pictures, he just kept saying, that's a miracle. Oh, that's impossible. And life changed for that guy in the space of an hour. So first thing it does is it makes oxygen transfer possible. Do you feel that? No, but you feel it if it stops working, and it's hard to live without oxygen. But what else does it do? It is the sole protector of our immune system. Now, our immune system is designed to protect us from viral and bacterial infection and insults. But what protects the immune system? It's glutathione. When you have the right high levels of glutathione in your cells, your T cells will reproduce rapidly. When you have low levels, the T cells reproduce slowly in response to a bacterial or viral insult. Now, the bacteria or virus, on the other hand, as we saw in the pandemic, it is reproducing explosively. So your only hope of not getting super sick and dying is glutathione. Why? Because if your virus cells are reproducing like this and your T cells are reproducing like this, the virus is going to win. And it did. In fact, there was an article that came out in the May 2020 edition of the Journal of Infectious Diseases from the American Chemical Society. You can look it up. You can Google search this, it'll come right up. And the title of the article was Low Levels of Endogenous Glutathione. That means glutathione produced in your body. Low levels of endogenous glutathione as the cause of severe symptoms and death in COVID-19 patients. And he proved that everybody that died had low levels of glutathione. Their body was producing low levels. And why? Because glutathione is the sole protector of the T cell. And how fast the T cells and the B cells, which are also assassins, can reproduce determines the impact in the defense against viral and bacterial infections. So that's one of the 400. So now we've looked at two. What's the third one? Well, how about the DNA? Your DNA, as long as it remains intact, the mitochondrial DNA, as long as it remains intact, the cell can't mutate. That's the good news, because 95% of all cancers get traction in the human body, according to Dr. Dean Jones of Emory University, a brilliant microbiologist, get traction because of the broken mitochondria. What breaks the mitochondria, according to Dr. Jones, is the chemical load in the cell. Everybody on this call has at least 200 industrial chemicals in your body right now. And if the load is too heavy in the cells, it has the ability to break the mitochondrial DNA. When the mitochondrial DNA is broken, the cell is at risk for mutation and multiplication, and that's something none of us want. Right now, it's the number 2 leading cause of death, but another 10 years, it'll be the number 1 leading cause of death in the United States. Rates are going up, not down. And people say, gee, I thought we were making so much progress against cancer. We are. But new cancers, new types. Remember, every cancer in every body is different than everybody else's body. Why? Because it's mutating from your cells, not from anybody else's cells. That's why some people get therapy that works, but the exact same therapy on somebody else doesn't work. Why? Because it's different. Everybody's DNA is completely different than everybody else's, just like your fingerprint. So the sole protector of the mitochondrial DNA is glutathione. How does it protect it? It lowers, glutathione is the detoxifier of the cell. It has a sulfhydryl molecule that's like that sticky flypaper, and it sticks to the chemical and escorts it out of the cell. So higher glutathione levels mean lower chemical loads in the cell, thus preserving the integrity and prolonging the integrity of the mitochondrial DNA. That's what we want to do. Glutathione to the rescue. So that's another thing it does. What's it best known for? It's best known for its antioxidant value. So you ask any doctor, have you ever heard of glutathione? Half will say, is that related to glucosamine? No, no more than a tree's related to an airplane. They're not even close. The other half will say, yeah, it's an antioxidant. That's it. That's like saying a rock in my backyard is just like Mount Everest. No, Mount Everest is a lot bigger than the rocks in my backyard. And glutathione is the Mount Everest of antioxidants. It, in a lot of ways, it does what no other antioxidant can do. You see, the purpose of an antioxidant is to mitigate free radical damage. How does it do that? Well, anytime a free radical is what it does, it is a scavenger and it steals an electron from a cell. And when that theft takes place, it creates a reaction that's called reactive oxygen species. It creates oxidative stress that the cell can't handle. And that oxidative stress does two terrible things. Number one, it produces inflammation in the cell. Now, I'll show you something real quick that I like to show. If I can find it real quick. Let's see. Albums. There we go. Albums. And right down here. Okay, this is what the inside of a cell looks at. That's the greatest magnification we have currently. And yet there's a whole city of things happening underneath what you can see here. You can't see the mitochondrial DNA here, but it's there. You can't see the mitochondria, but it's there. But this is a living organism. All of those things you can see are in motion. And they're all performing tasks that are in response to the programming of the DNA and then the proliferation and protection and defense of the cell. So inflammation is like dropping a piece of sludge into that. Okay, it's going to interrupt the magnificent working of the infrastructure of a cell. Inflammation is our mortal enemy. It opens the gateways to every single disease state. It determines, inflammation will determine how fast or how slow a wound will heal. So what causes inflammation? Write this down. Oxidative stress causes inflammation. You say, well, how about if you're injured? The injury causes free radicals to develop instantly, speed of electricity. Those free radicals go to work. They steal the electrons they need to survive, and that creates oxidative stress, which in turn creates inflammation. And it all happens at the speed of electricity, so it's not like a lot of time to think about it. And so inflammation, the other thing oxidative stress causes is accelerated aging in the cell. And so if you accelerate the aging of cells, you're accelerating the aging of the tissues and the organs that are made up of those tissues and cells. So do you want your brain to age more rapidly or more slowly? Do you want to get older faster or stay younger longer? Do you want your heart, your cardiovascular system, to stay younger longer or get older faster? It all relates to oxidative stress and the free radical damage. Now, antioxidants can mitigate free radical damage by donating one of their electrons to the free radical. And when that donation takes place, it sequesters, captures, neutralizes the free radicals so it can't do the damage. That's why antioxidants are important. Now, the problem is there is a whole spectrum of free radicals. They have different sources. Some are sourced from oxygen, some are sourced from nitrogen, some are sourced from hydrogen. And those free radicals that have different sources, they also have different chemical compositions and different structures. Well, all antioxidants except glutathione are monofocused. Like a hotel key, they can open one door, but they can't open any others. All antioxidants can handle one type of free radical, but none of the others. So vitamin C can handle this type, but it leaves all these bad guys to attack your cells. Vitamin E can handle that one, but it leaves all these guys: CoQ10, superoxide dismutase, catalase, vitamin D, vitamin A. So they're all monofocused. Glutathione is called the master antioxidant for a number of reasons, but one of which is it can capture, sequester, and neutralize all types of free radicals, regardless of their source, their composition, or their structure. And it's the only one that can. One free radical that's new to our generation is called peroxynitrite. It's created when the microwaves from 5G antenna enter our body. They react with the nitrogen in our body and they produce peroxynitrite. Peroxynitrite is a free radical that lives 1 billion times longer than any other free radical we know about. It lives so long it can go from one cell, damage that cell, go to this cell, damage that cell. It is crazy. Well, guess what? Glutathione is the only antioxidant that can neutralize peroxynitrite. Now, is glutathione just another antioxidant, except it can handle all types of free radicals? No. It's many times more powerful than all other antioxidants combined. Why? Because once it dispenses an electron to neutralize a free radical, with all other antioxidants, when they dispense that electron, they're done. They're nothing but waste in the cell now. They're useless. Glutathione recycles itself. It's like a gun that when it fires a bullet at a bad guy, makes another bullet. Fires that one, makes another one. So glutathione is the only antioxidant that recycles itself. It also recycles vitamin C and vitamin E. If there's enough glutathione in your cells, if there's not enough, it not only will not recycle E and C, it'll shut the door. So you can drink all the orange juice you want, and if you don't have enough glutathione in your cells, it won't open the door to the cells. And just bye-bye, we don't have room for you right now. And so glutathione is like that. It takes anything you do, anything you do in terms of supplementation or medications, and it allows it to work better, because healthy cells work better than unhealthy cells, and glutathione is the key to cellular health more than any other material. So its antioxidant value is critical. So that's just 4 of its 400 functions. Now, let's put it into practical matters. What does it do for you? Well, it protects you. Can you feel it protecting the lining of your lungs? No. But if it fails to protect the lining of your lungs, what's wrong with you? I got asthma. I've got COPD. I've got emphysema. So now you're wearing oxygen around to help you breathe. Problem is, what you really have is inflammation in the lining of your lungs. Because of that inflammation, your lungs are having to work harder to get the same amount of air that they would get if you didn't have inflammation. So that hard work does something. It creates a lot of oxygen reaction, oxidative stress. And guess what? That oxidative stress creates more inflammation. And guess what happens? It becomes hard to breathe. On the other hand, glutathione, if it can mitigate the oxidative stress, it can reduce the inflammation, which in turn reduces the demand for more glutathione, which frees up more glutathione. So it's a self-feeding cycle one way or another. So glutathione is not an anti-inflammatory, but it does mitigate oxidative stress, which causes the inflammation. Oxidative stress opens the gateway to every major disease class. And there's a great article on that. It was in the Journal of the Cell in 2009. And the title of that article is, if you want to write this down, you can look it up, Google it. Glutathione dysregulation and the etiology and progression of human disease. That one will knock your socks off because it's not authored by one person. It was the whole practically most of the medical professors at Rochester Medical University, and it has 300 citations to other scientific literature in at the end of the article, which is 4 pages of the article, are citations. But they had 600 citations, but the publisher only had room for 300. Great article. And it shows the link on how lowering dysregulation means decline, how declining glutathione levels opens the door to every major disease. How about diabetes? Yes. How about heart disease? Yes. How about degenerative neurological diseases? Yes. How about pulmonary diseases? Yes. It's all related to lower glutathione levels, and this article proves it, and it names every one of those diseases. And I just Googled it the other day because I have it on my computer, but I don't disseminate it, but you can look it up. So glutathione is critical to your health. How does it affect how you feel? It changes how you go through your day. Keith knows, most of the people on this call that are on our product know they go through their day very differently, mentally and physically, based on our product. What does our product do? We have a novel way. We reduce the particle sizes of glutathione and some cofactors, and the cofactors are just as important as the glutathione. Won't work without the cofactors. And we make the particle sizes so small that they're quickly absorbed right into your bloodstream through the mucosa. You see, glutathione and cysteine are so fragile that when they hit the stomach, they break. And the cell will not accept a broken molecule. It won't open the door. And so how do we get it into the cell without going through the stomach? We made the particle sizes so small, they go right into your bloodstream instead of your stomach. And from the time they get in the bloodstream until the time they're actually in your cells, according to a scientist at the University of Utah that was 25 years in nano department, and she's a double PhD in physics and chemistry. We're out of the cells in 70 seconds. That was an estimate. So it could be 60 to 80, 50 to 90, but under 2 minutes, we are already out of the blood and into the cells. All of our athletes get blood because our athletes compete as amateurs. And when they went, we just had a girl, woohoo, a girl set a new world record on our product. Overall, she's a weightlifter. I think she's around 25, 28, somewhere in there. She goes to a meet, and you not only compete in individual lifts, but your point title or your points total is based on all of your lifts. And you add those totals together, her totals broke the world record for her weight class. Wow. And she trains on our product, wouldn't be without it. And we know that we have other athletes that have broken world records on our product. Once you start on our product, if you use it right, you never want to get off of it. Are you addicted to it? No. Are you addicted to oxygen? No. Are you addicted to water? No. But try living without either one and it doesn't work. Same thing with glutathione. If we took glutathione out of your body right now, you'd be dead within 2 to 3 minutes. So glutathione is critical. Problem is it declines as we age by about 8 to 15% per decade, starting at the age of 20. Age of 20 is when aging officially starts because of the glutathione drop. And as you age, as glutathione levels go down, oxidative stress goes up, and it opens the door to all 78 disease classes of aging, just about everything you can name. And so you'll see that in that article if you get that article. Now, I'm going to show you some pictures, and we show you the pictures because the biggest organ in the body is your skin. And if we can make these differences in your skin, we make the exact same thing goes on in your lungs, your heart, your brain, your muscles, and so on. Athletes using our product 5 minutes before a workout or an event will get a much better performance, but they will also recover much faster. According to a group of sports medicine doctors in Europe, we delay the onset of lactic acidosis for endurance athletes by 2 whole kilometers, 16%. They said it's biggest game changer they've ever seen. This is a weightlifter named Bill Gillespie. Bill, let's go to his next chart. This is Bill's career. And at the age of 49 in 2008, he set the world record in the bench press for an amateur, meaning he's drug tested, at 804 pounds. And I called him in 2018 when he was 59. How you doing, Bill? He said, not good. He said, my job's great. He's strength and conditioning coach, was with the Seahawks. Here now he was with Liberty University, Seattle Seahawks. And he says, but a lifetime of weightlifting, I've got inflammation so bad that I hurt from the time I wake up till the time I go to bed. I don't sleep well because of the inflammation. He said, because of loss of lean muscle, my recovery time is so slow. He said, I used to lift heavy 4 times a week. Now I can only lift heavy 1 time a week. And he said, my bench shows it. It's in the toilet. I said, how much are you lifting? He said, 725 pounds. I said, Bill, that sounds like a lot for a 59-year-old. He says, yeah, world record for a 59-year-old, but but I don't get to compete with the elite guys anymore. Well, I said, everything's going to change. I gave him our product. We were making lab product at the time. I sent him a bunch, and look what happened. Before he turned 60, his lift went to 915 pounds. Before he turned 61, his lift went to 1,050 pounds. And at 62, at the last meet of his life, his retirement meet, he successfully bench pressed and got a new world record, 1,129.8 pounds. How can that happen to a guy that's older than he was when he was 49 and set the world record? Answer, reduce oxidative stress. And that happens to every organ, muscle, tissue, joint, bone in your body. So now let's look at some skin just so you can actually see what we do to the living organs in your body. Okay, this was the very first before and after we got. I sent it, put it in a spray bottle and told people, spray your face 5 times a day for 7 weeks. This came back. This is Sherry Warner. Many of you know her. She is a diamond in Neumi now. This was in 2018. Look at how much brighter, more slender her face is, smoother. I sent that to my former formulator because I've owned 5 other cosmetic companies. And he instantly called me, Steve, this is amazing, but I hate to tell you, she's had a facelift. I said, no, she hasn't, John. She lives on a farm, works on a farm, never had a facelift. She was on yesterday's call. You saw how great she looks, and she's 6 years older than she was in these pictures. And yet she looks even better. And that's the power of what we do to the body and to its organs. Do you want your heart to reflect the woman on the left or the woman on the right? How about your brain? How about your kidneys? How about your lungs? I like what we see on the right more than what we see on the left. Next. Here we go. We'll go through these real fast, I hope. Okay, those are my hands. I sprayed my right hand for 12 weeks. I didn't spray my left hand. And I was 71 here. I was much younger. I'll be 76 in a few weeks. Can you tell the difference? Okay, I can too. Next. This is an 84-year-old. Look at her neck first. Look how much more slender and tighter her neck is. Now look at her skin, her chin, and above the chin. I can tell you plastic surgery can't help that. Botox can't even help that. There's too much, too much. And yet look at it afterwards. 4 weeks, she sprayed a lot and she swished a lot. Next. Okay. Somebody looked at that yesterday, a doctor, and said, whoa. And I said, yeah, look at that. He said, man, you normally need surgery for that. I said, I know. But look at the difference in the appearance. She went from the legs of an 80-plus-year-old to what looked like the eggs of a 30 or 40-year-old. Next. Here, this lady's much younger. She owns a skincare salon in Miami. Look how much smoother, brighter, tighter her face is. She said, Steve, nothing in the world can do this. She said, where did my pores go? She said, look at how it opened up my eyes. She said, this is crazy. I said, yeah, I know. Next. Okay, I love this lady. We won't go much further because we made the call long. But she is 60 years old. We met her last year at the age of 60. This was after 1 month, and it looked like she got a facelift like Sherry, but there was no facelift, just spraying. Look at her after 6 months. She looks like, and that's how she looked when she came here last summer for our birthday party, our second birthday party, is she honestly looked like she was maybe 40, 42. And you can see the difference. Always right. Remember, tighter, brighter, smoother. That guy's 67, but we're gonna stop with him so we can let everybody go back to what they're doing. So come back to me, and that's what we have. And people say, "Do you color your hair?" I do not. I do color my beard. I use a product called Just for Men because I got tired when I'd fly with my children. I got tired of flight attendants saying, what would your grandpa like? And they'd always say, he's not my grandpa, he's my daddy. So I started using Just for Men when it first came out, and to just make it look a little better. So when you come for the birthday party, I'll have Just for Men on that. But I don't use it in my hair. My hair is starting to get lighter, but that's okay. I'll be 76. Anyway, thank you for joining us. We love you. Thank you for being a part of our Neumi family, and we're on a mission. I've got a new book that's going to be coming out. I don't have a release date yet, called The Calling, but I'm working on another one right now that I'm going to self-publish so I can, with AI, I can put it in 100 languages in a week once it's done. And because we have so many languages now in this company, I want everybody to have this one. It's a secular book. And the title, nobody steal my title, is Mission Driven, Mission Accomplished. The 6 keys. I don't remember the subtitle. 6, basically, you're going to like it. And I'll make sure if we self-publish, that electronic copies will be for free to our Neumi family members. So how does a guy who lost 9 jobs in 6 years build multi-billion-dollar companies? You're going to learn. That's in Mission Driven, Mission Accomplished. So Sean and I are working on that one, and I hope we're finished with it in the next 6 months, and then we'll get it to you even before the next one comes out, which is actually already done. So hope all is well, and we love you. And Keith, thank you, Keith, for hosting today. And we'll see you, for those of you that have friends you want to get on at 6 o'clock Mountain, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central and 5 Pacific. That's tonight, Thursday night. I'll probably be doing that one from my home. So we'll see you later, and we love you. Thanks, Keith.
You betcha. Have a good one, y'all.